The hallway light flickered as Daniel Hayes wiped sweat from his forehead. His shirt clung to him from another long day at the auto shop, and his 6-year-old daughter, Lila, trailed behind with a stuffed rabbit in her arms. The landlord's letter still burned in Daniel's pocket. Final warning. Rent is overdue. Pay within 7 days, or eviction will follow. Daniel had already sold most of what he could. His late wife's jewelry, his old guitar, even the television. But the bills kept coming, like waves against a drowning man. He had one last option, renting out the spare room in their small house. That evening, as Lila sat on the couch drawing, a soft knock echoed at the door. Daniel opened it to find a young woman, barely 20, standing there with a suitcase. Her name was Isla Bennett. Her voice trembled slightly. "I saw your ad about the room for rent. Is it still available?" Daniel hesitated. She looked out of place in their shabby hallway. Her clothes simple but clearly expensive, her posture graceful, her eyes holding a weight he couldn't name. But desperation doesn't wait for perfect timing. He forced a smile. "Yes, come in." Isla stepped inside, looking around the small, cluttered living room. The peeling wallpaper, the second-hand furniture, the smell of old coffee. But instead of judgment, her lips curved into a soft smile, as if she found comfort in its warmth. Lila peeked at her shyly. Isla knelt down, her voice gentle. "Hi there. What's your bunny's name?" "Mr. Whiskers," Lila whispered. Isla laughed softly, the sound like sunlight breaking through clouds. Something in that moment settled inside Daniel. Maybe, just maybe, this stranger wasn't here by accident. What Daniel didn't know was that Isla carried a secret. She wasn't just a college girl searching for a room. She was the estranged daughter of Richard Bennett, a billionaire construction tycoon. And she had left her world of privilege behind to taste life as an ordinary person. But she hadn't expected to find a struggling father and his little girl. 2 lives about to intertwine with hers in ways she couldn't have imagined. The days that followed were strangely harmonious. Isla adjusted quickly to the small routines of the Hayes household. She washed dishes beside Daniel after dinner, helped Lila with her homework, and even learned how to cook pancakes from scratch. For Daniel, the extra rent money was a lifeline, but it was more than that. For the first time in months, the house felt alive again. Lila's laughter filled the rooms. Isla's gentle presence eased the heaviness on Daniel's shoulders. Still, questions lingered in his mind. Isla never spoke about her family. She paid in cash. Her phone buzzed often with calls she ignored. And sometimes, late at night, he caught her standing by the window, tears glistening on her cheeks as she whispered into the darkness. "I'm not going back. Not yet." One evening, as the 3 of them sat around the small dinner table, Lila asked innocently, "Isla, do you have a daddy too?" Isla froze, her fork hovering midair. Daniel quickly changed the subject, but the damage was done. Later, when he found her washing dishes alone, she spoke softly. "My father is not like yours. He thinks money can solve everything. But it doesn't buy love. It doesn't buy freedom." Her voice broke. "I just wanted to know what life feels like when people care about you, not about what you have." Daniel said nothing, but inside, something shifted. He had judged her as fragile, maybe spoiled. But beneath her quiet grace was a girl searching for something real. The next week tested them all. Lila fell ill with a high fever. Daniel panicked. He couldn't afford the hospital bills. But before he could decide what to do, Isla stepped in. She stayed up all night by Lila's side, cooling her forehead, reading her stories, singing softly until the little girl finally slept. When Daniel thanked her, voice thick with emotion, Isla only smiled. "Family doesn't always mean blood, Daniel. Sometimes it means choosing to stay." What he didn't know was that Richard Bennett's men were already looking for her. The billionaire father who thought he controlled everything was about to discover where his daughter had been hiding, and who she had been living with. The black car appeared one Saturday morning, sleek and out of place on the worn street. Richard Bennett stepped out, tall and commanding, his tailored suit worth more than Daniel's yearly rent. He stormed to the door, his security trailing behind. When Daniel opened it, Richard's sharp eyes scanned him coldly. Where is she? Daniel frowned. Who? My daughter. Isla. Behind him, Isla appeared, pale but resolute. Dad, stop. The room froze. Daniel's heart pounded as realization hit him. Billionaire's daughter. The girl who had been washing dishes in his kitchen, who had tucked Lila into bed, who had laughed over pancakes. She was heir to a fortune he couldn't even imagine. Richard's voice thundered. Do you have any idea the humiliation you've caused me, Isla? Hiding out with people like this. His hand swept the small living room with disdain. But Isla's chin lifted. For the first time in my life I felt seen. Not as money, not as a name, as me. She turned to Daniel, her eyes shining. You showed me what family really means. You and Lila. Richard scoffed. He's beneath you. Daniel finally spoke, his voice steady. Maybe I am. But I love my daughter with everything I have. Can you say the same? The words struck like a blow. Richard faltered, his mask cracking. Isla stepped closer to Daniel and Lila, her hands trembling but firm. This is my choice, Dad. You can't buy this. You can't buy love. For a long moment, silence reigned. Then Richard sighed, shoulders slumping. He looked at his daughter, not as an heiress, but as the child he had lost to ambition. I just didn't want to lose you, he admitted softly. Isla's eyes softened. Then stop trying to control me. Start listening. It didn't all resolve in a single day. But Richard left with the first glimmer of humility, and Isla stayed. Her choice, not her father's. Daniel's rent problem quietly disappeared soon after, though he never asked how. What mattered was this. 3 broken lives had collided by accident, and somehow, through kindness and struggle, had begun to heal each other. As Lila curled up beside Isla one night, whispering, I wish you'd stay forever, Isla smiled through tears. I'm not going anywhere, because sometimes family is found in the unlikeliest places. When a single dad opens his door, and a billionaire's daughter chooses love over wealth.